My name's John Flanagan. I'm a marketing major at the University of Minnesota. Up until this trip, I had zero experience with leadership or social change work, and I had next to no knowledge of Irish history. My family is very Irish, and I've always dreamed of going here one day, and that is why I selected this trip. I knew nothing about leadership, I just kind of knew where I wanted to go. My family's been very passionate about our Irish history, and we still celebrate that culture today. At family gatherings, we say sláinte, and we make our own soda bread. I grew up working at a fish and chips restaurant that has Irish symbols all over and flies the tricolor flag outside. Despite this, I really knew nothing coming into this trip. My knowledge of Irish history and the history of the Troubles was almost nothing, and I didn't have any leadership experience. In high school, I was captain of the speech team, which meant I was a leader for 120 students, and up until this trip, that was my definition of a leader, someone who leads a large group. I didn't have any real knowledge of what leadership was. Because of that lack of knowledge, I've learned a lot on this trip. I've learned the truth about Irish history and all of the violence behind the Troubles in Northern Ireland. Prior to this, I really had no idea. I assumed Northern Ireland just kind of wanted to be free from the UK and the UK just wasn't letting them leave, but I had no idea how split it was and how many citizens were truly in favor of staying. Seeing the peace walls was a big cultural revelation for me because I saw how deep-rooted this hatred for the other side is and how strong the propaganda is as well. Looking at walls like this one from a Protestant neighborhood, I see why the divide is still so strong. This wall blames all of these deaths on Sinn Féin or the IRA, saying that these people were murdered for being Protestant. There are symbols like this in Catholic neighborhoods as well. Seeing this, I can see why this divide is so strong. These children are raised around these symbols that teach them that people on the other side of the walls just in their backyard are their enemy and they want to stop their way of life. I've learned a lot about leadership through the in-class material. I'd never heard of stuff like coming in right or the SALT model and so on, but beyond that I've also learned about myself in leadership. I'm beginning to form my own true definition of leadership and changing how I view leadership in the world. I've learned to myself that leadership is so much more than just being in charge of a group, but it's also being in charge of yourself in a way that benefits everyone and creates positive change in the world. In learning and developing this, I've learned lessons in the context of our class that I can apply to my personal life at home. I've learned to see things more empathetically. I need to do a better job at listening to and empathizing with those around me. At home, I live in a house of 7 dudes, and there can be a lot of bickering as a part of that. I can use empathy and the other leadership skills I've learned here to guide these arguments into positive discussions. I can also be a better leader in how I act. I should be more environmentally sustainable. I want to bike more instead of driving so much, and overall just lead through example. Before this course, I just didn't think that one person's actions were effective without a platform, but I'm starting to open my eyes to the fact that I can be a leader in my everyday actions by just doing what I can do the best that I can. I've learned to see less differences. Seeing the divide in Northern Ireland has been eye-opening to me. I see how we as the U.S. are also divided in many ways. Now returning home, I have the opportunity to be a leader in my community and help stop hate and increase listening. I want to be better in how I lead and interact with those in my community, and I want my personality and empathy to be a symbol for those around me to follow me and listen more. I want to use my leadership skills like these to make social change in my community. I need to be better at having difficult conversations and pushing for equity and justice. This trip has taught me to be comfortable in vulnerable situations, and now that I've lowered these walls in myself, I hope I can return home and start to be vulnerable with others and help others be vulnerable around me. In conclusion, I'm really glad I pushed through my fear and came here. I've always been somebody who likes to stay close to home. I went to college 20 minutes away, and I was always really scared to leave. That's why I never went abroad for a semester, but I knew I had to do it for school, and I was very nervous about it. But I pushed through my fear, and I came here anyways, and I knew nothing about leadership, social change. I knew none of the people, and I'm really glad I've been able to come see Ireland and its beauty, but I've also developed an interest in leadership and social change, and though this is just a taste, I'm super excited to get home and push myself further to apply my knowledge to my life at home, and yeah. Thanks for being welcoming, guys. I'm happy I came.